In our headlines on this Tuesday, February 4th, here in South Korea, President Yoon attends the fifth hearing of his impeachment trial at the Constitutional Court today that included a number of key witness testimonies. Meanwhile, U.S. tariffs on Canada and Mexico have been delayed for 30 days to allow for a period of negotiations on drug smuggling and illegal immigration. Back here in Seoul, OpenAI founder Sam Altman is in the capital city to advance AI collaboration with Korean businesses as China makes remarkable strides in the field. We start today at the Constitutional Court, where the fifth hearing of the impeachment trial against President Yoon began this afternoon. Now, for more on this, I have our top office correspondent Oh Soo-young standing by live. Soo-young, it's good to have you on. So I understand today's hearing included an interesting lineup of key witnesses. Do tell us more.
Good afternoon, Sunny. Sure. So President Yoon's fifth impeachment trial hearing began today at 2 p.m. With his attendance again and three testimonies set for 90 minutes each. And the three witnesses attending the court today, now, they were key figures involved in the execution of martial law on December 3rd and considered as rather unfavorable witnesses for President Yoon based on the previous statements that they've given to state prosecutors. Now, the hearing began, the questioning began with Lee Jin-woo, former commander of the Capital Defense Command. Lee has reportedly claimed he received 3 phone calls from Yoon and countless calls from former Defense Minister Kim Yong-yeon to deploy martial law forces, storm the National Assembly by force, and drag out legislators to stop them from overturning martial law. However, when he showed up at the Constitutional Court today, he refused to confirm or answer most questions posed by the National Assembly about whether he had received calls or orders from President Yoon. While he said he could not respond to certain questions relevant to his ongoing criminal case, he did selectively answer some. He in fact denied that he'd been given any orders from President Yoon to arrest lawmakers. When asked whether the former defense minister instructed him to deploy forces to the parliament to prevent lawmakers from entering or to block them from lifting martial law, he said that he had not. While emphasizing that he hadn't known about that the martial law would be declared, he said that he did not consider it unlawful or unconstitutional, but accepted it as a strategic guideline, as he said, by the nation's leader, and said he followed orders by the defense minister prior to the declaration to be on standby at the base.
Right. Soo-young, I hear a second witness is on the stand as we speak.
That's right, Sonny. So the second speaker, the second witness rather, is Arirang, who is the former chief of the Defense Counterintelligence Command. He's now being questioned as we speak. And according to state investigators, he testified that he had been ordered by former Defense Minister Kim Yong-yeon to arrest certain politicians. Now, we're going to have to see whether he's more responsive to the questions than Lee Jin-woo. Next is Hong Jang-won, former First Deputy Director of the National Intelligence Service. He has said that he was informed of the arrests to be made and was told to, quote, seize them all this time for a total cleanup. Now, President Yoon has denied all of these major allegations, so the hearing today could feature more conflicting testimonies, but the court has banned him from asking questions himself.
Right. Soo-young, I realize that it may be tough to tell, but when can we expect an actual verdict?
Well, for now, the court has scheduled 3 more hearings until next Thursday, but it's quite unclear whether the Constitutional Court will be able to wrap up the case by then, or whether they'll choose to hear from more witnesses, which of course would inevitably prolong the trial. And based on the court's current schedule, a verdict could be out by the end of the month or by early March, given that it took 10 days to deliver a ruling on former President Park Geun-hye's trial and 14 days in the case of former President Roh Moo-hyun. But the conflicting testimonies may require more witnesses for cross-checking and verification of whether Yoon directly issued martial law orders, whether the decrees were constitutional or not, and also whether the president had pre-planned the martial law. Yoon's team has applied for at least 31 witnesses, according to the press officer today, and the court is still reviewing the candidates. Also, as Yoon's representatives continue to fiercely challenge the court's proceedings, experts say the trial could also be lengthened. However, most do believe that the ruling will be made before two justices retire from the bench on April 18th to avoid further procedural delays and complications.
All right, Suyang, thank you for that coverage. That was our Oh Suyang with the latest on the president's impeachment trial at the Constitutional Court. Now, meanwhile, at the Seoul Detention Center earlier this afternoon, people backing the president gathered outside the center, braving the day's frigid conditions to share their moral support. Our Choi Min-jung was there.
A freezing cold Tuesday. Despite the bitterly cold weather, dozens of President Yoon Suk-yeol's supporters gathered at the Seoul Detention Center to cheer for Yoon, with the president heading to the Constitutional Court for the fifth hearing of his impeachment trial. Supporters sang and chanted loudly, banging on drums. One supporter attempted to enter the detention center but was stopped by police. There was also a small number of people protesting in favor of Yoon's impeachment. The police has deployed heavy security and buses on site to prevent any potential physical clashes between those for and against the impeachment. On Wednesday, officials from the National Assembly's Special Committee on the Insurrection Investigation are scheduled to visit the detention center to question Yoon in person, as he has refused to attend previous committee hearings. But it remains to be seen whether Yoon will comply with the investigation. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
U.S. tariffs on Canada and Mexico have been delayed for 30 days, but the additional 10% tax on Chinese imports have been put in place. Our An Sung-jin reports.
U.S. President Donald Trump's 10% tariff on Chinese products took effect just after midnight Tuesday. This means that all Chinese goods going into the country will be levied under the trade measures. China immediately hit back with retaliatory taxes of its own. The country's Customs Tariff Commission of the State Council announced that certain U.S. products, such as petroleum or agricultural machinery, will have a 10% tariff, while coal and LNG will be levied 15%, starting on the 10th. This comes as Trump stated that he will be talking with China on deals regarding stopping the flow of fentanyl in the Panama Canal. However, whether Trump will strike a deal with China remains unclear, as Beijing's ambassador to the United Nations, Fu Chang, reaffirmed the country's position during a press conference at the UN headquarters early Tuesday, stating that China will file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization and implement countermeasures regarding Trump's tariffs. Unlike China, less than a day ahead of Trump's imposition of 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, the tariffs have been postponed for at least a month. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Monday local time posted on X that he had a good call with President Trump, signaling that a deal has been struck. The deal includes implementing a $1.3 billion border plan, which includes reinforcing the border with nearly 10,000 frontline personnel, as well as strengthening resources to respond to fentanyl and money laundering. The agreement with Canada comes only hours after Trump announced a similar deal with Mexico. Just a day before U.S. tariffs were to take place, Mexico agreed to also place 10,000 National Guard troops along the U.S. border to prevent the flow of drugs.
I told him we wanted him to pause the tariffs, so we've reached that agreement. I'm sure that during this month, we'll be able to deliver good results for his people and the people of Mexico.
Over the next month, the U.S. and Mexico will be negotiating on trade and security issues before a final decision on whether to implement full tariffs. Concerns over a global tariff war sparked by Trump are still high, as he also warned of tariffs to the European Union.
When targeted, unfairly or arbitrarily, the European Union will respond firmly.
Whether these trial periods for Canada and Mexico will lead to successful tariff deals is unclear. Negotiations could see the U.S. adding on trade issues, and concrete results may not appear regarding drug trafficking or illegal immigration issues. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Well, for now, though, the decision to delay Trump tariffs on major U.S. trade partners kept its stock market from sinking deeper during Monday's trade. Our Lee Sing-jae has the closing numbers.
On the first day of Wall Street trading since U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement of 25% tariffs against Canada and Mexico, and an additional 10% tariff on China, major indexes saw major sell-offs. However, major sell-offs slowed as Trump announced that he would put a hold on the 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada in order for negotiations to take place. By the end of Monday's trading, the S&P 500 fell just 0.8%, while the Dow lost 122 points, or 0.3%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq fell 1.2%. Still, major tech and auto shares fell on the day due to concerns that an intensified trade conflict due to Trump's tariffs and the response from affected countries could hamper sales. America's largest car maker, General Motors, fell as much as 7% during pre-market trading Monday, before recovering to trade over 3% lower from its previous trading session. Stellantis NV also fell nearly 4% by the end of Monday's session. Apple, which relies heavily on Chinese labor for its production, also saw its share fall over 3%. However, Bitcoin, which fell over the week, rebounded to above $100,000 again. According to US-based cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase, as of 8 a.m. Korea Standard Time, the price of Bitcoin stood at over $101,700. Concerns still remain for South Korea's currency market as the greenback continues to strengthen against the won amid Trump's protectionist policies. According to the Seoul Money Brokerage, as of 2 a.m. Tuesday morning, the won fell 9.31 against the US dollar to close at 1,462 won. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
And starting this week, the government will put into action its plan aimed at supporting public livelihood and the broader economy. Now, intentions to this end were shared at a cabinet meeting on this Tuesday, during which acting President Choi Sang-mok added close monitoring of economic trends on a weekly basis will be followed by at least one tangible response measure each week. Emphasis has been placed on the execution of effective measures to support the economy within the first quarter of this year. Such efforts include revising regulations or temporarily easing them to allow for better adaptation to emerging challenges as Korea too braces for U.S. tariffs. And at the National Assembly, the ruling party has proposed permitting flexibility in work hours for those in the chip industry to allow for a strategic edge over the competition in the global AI race. Our correspondent Lee Si-hoo reports.
How can South Korea's semiconductor industry further boost its global competitiveness amid ongoing shifts in the global AI market? The ruling People Power Party has suggested an exception to the current labor law so that employees in the sector could work for more than 52 hours per week, the limit laid out under Korea's labor law.
The competitiveness of our semiconductor industry is weakening due to rigid operations based on a 52-hour work week. The legal restriction is blocking R&D and production line operations, despite the lack of time facing us.
In a discussion with the Ministers of Trade and Labor held at the National Assembly on Tuesday, lawmakers suggested the legislation of a special act that will allow for a labor law exemption that will enable research professionals to work for longer than 52 hours per week. The special act also aims to provide firms with additional government subsidies to support their growth. The ruling party urged the opposition parties to join them in the efforts so the special act can be approved this month, with acting President Choi Sang-mok also showing his support on Tuesday, saying the National Assembly should conclude the special act and other key economy-related bills during its February session. The leader of the main opposition Democratic Party, Lee Jae-myung, the day before had spoken favorably of giving the semiconductor industry flexibility in its working conditions, but with restrictions. He said at a related debate on Monday that while he hasn't come up with conclusions, he would consider allowing high-income research professionals to work longer in certain periods of the year if the workers themselves agree to it. Meanwhile, the ruling party and government officials also discussed measures to resolve unsold housing issues occurring in non-capital regions in the country, as well as further livelihood measures for those in need, including grocery vouchers for the financially vulnerable, as well as support for small business owners, workers in jobs with weak stability, and for young people. Tuesday's discussions came following the release of DeepSeek's open-source AI chatbot last month, which has impacted the global AI development environment, and the recent imposition of tariffs by the newly launched Trump administration that is posing increased risks to South Korean firms. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
Also today, the government and rival political parties have agreed to meet for talks early next week. Now, acting President Choi Sang-mok, National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-sik, ruling People Power Party Interim Chairman Kwon Young-se, and main opposition Democratic Party Chairman Lee Jae-myung will partake in the upcoming meeting that will address matters related to supporting the economy. Now, these include a special act in support of the semiconductor industry, a supplementary budget, and pension reform. In other news, OpenAI founder Sam Altman is here in Seoul for a number of events and meetings aimed at advancing AI collaboration. Our correspondent Lee Soo-jin covers his agenda.
ChatGPT developer OpenAI is looking to expand its presence in the South Korean market as Chinese startup DeepSeek poses a challenge to its position in the tech industry. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, during a closed-door workshop held in Seoul on Tuesday, said that with its robust semiconductor and energy industries, Korea is a country that is actively adopting artificial intelligence. This marks Altman's third visit to South Korea and the first time an official OpenAI event took place in the country. As part of its efforts to stay competitive, OpenAI announced that it has entered into a joint strategic partnership with South Korea's leading messaging app operator, Kakao. Kakao CEO Jung Shin-ah said on Tuesday that upcoming key Kakao services such as Kanana, an AI-integrated messenger app, will utilize OpenAI's latest AI technology APIs, application programming interfaces that allow developers to integrate OpenAI's language models such as ChatGPT into their own apps. But Kakao isn't the only Korean company OpenAI is planning to work more closely with, as Altman also met with SK Group chairman Choi Tae-won immediately after the workshop on Tuesday. Choi and Altman reportedly discussed potential areas of collaboration between OpenAI and SK Group, such as the supply of high-bandwidth memory from SK Hynix and the construction of an AI data center by SK Telecom. And in the afternoon, Altman met with Samsung Electronics chairman Lee Jae-yong and SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, who flew in from Japan in the morning to attend the meeting. This comes after SoftBank and OpenAI on Monday agreed to set up a joint venture in Japan, with SoftBank also committing to investing $3 billion annually to utilize OpenAI's technology. The three are expected to discuss ways to expand AI collaboration, namely Samsung Electronics' potential participation in the Stargate project, a $500 billion AI infrastructure initiative supported by U.S. President Donald Trump. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
Pre-sales of Samsung's Galaxy S25 series here in Korea have soared past an earlier record. According to company officials today, 1.3 million units of their latest smartphone series were sold in less than 2 weeks. Now, the previous record was set last year with over 1.2 million units of the Galaxy S24 series. The newest S25 lineup has been applauded for its advanced AI features offered at the same price range as its S24 counterpart. In the Middle East, at least 20 people were killed in a car bomb attack in the northern Syria part of the country, Syria that is, on Monday. According to authorities there, a car filled with explosives blew up next to a truck carrying agricultural workers, most of them female. The Syrian leadership has vowed to bring those responsible for the appalling assault to justice, but no one has claimed responsibility for the attack as of yet.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. On February 3rd, European Union leaders gathered in Brussels for informal discussions centered on defense and security. The meeting addressed concerns over potential U.S. tariffs on European goods, as indicated by President Donald Trump. While French President Emmanuel Macron stressed Europe's need to assert itself if its commercial interests are threatened, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz expressed a preference for cooperation. Other leaders, including Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, also highlighted the negative implications of a trade war and the importance of unity. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer also joined the bloc's 27 leaders in the meeting. Starmer became the first UK Prime Minister to attend an EU leaders meeting since the country left the bloc 5 years ago. In Greece, the tourist island of Santorini is on alert after more than 200 undersea earthquakes were recorded between February 1st and 3rd. The most substantial quake, a magnitude 4.8, occurred on Monday local time, leading to landslides and rock slides on the island. In response, authorities have closed schools in related areas, advised residents and tourists to avoid abandoned buildings, and issued tsunami warnings. Emergency teams, including rescue units and medical personnel, have been deployed as a precaution. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has urged residents to stay calm and adhere to protection guidelines. The frequency and intensity of the recent quakes have led to many residents to temporarily leave the island. In Russia, an explosion in the lobby of a luxury apartment complex in Moscow has killed pro-Russian paramilitary leader Armen Sarkisian and his bodyguard. 3 others were injured. Russian authorities labeled the bombing in the Scarlet Seals luxury apartment complex on Monday local time a carefully planned assassination, as the explosive device reportedly detonated remotely just as Sarkisian entered the lobby. Sarkisian was the founder of the Arbit Battalion, a pro-Russian militia operating in eastern Ukraine. He had been accused by Ukraine's security service of participating in illegal armed groups and organizing pro-Russian military units. In the UK, London Zoo on Monday celebrated the successful breeding of 33 endangered Darwin's froglets following a rescue mission from a forest in southern Chile. In October 2024, a team of conservationists collected 52 healthy Darwin's frogs and transported them to London in climate-controlled conditions. A devastating fungus had caused a 90% decline in the population of Darwin's frogs in Chile since 2023. The amphibians, named after naturalist Charles Darwin, are known for their unique behavior, where males carry developing tadpoles in their vocal sacs for safety. Choi Ji-hee, Arirang News.
With the first cold wave warning issued in Seoul this year, the cold wave reached its peak nationwide today. The coldest place this morning was Mountain Seorak, where temperatures plummeted to nearly minus 23 degrees Celsius. While the cold wave warnings continue to be expanded, this cold spell will freeze the country tomorrow as well. As this powerful cold wave passes through the West Sea, heavy snow clouds formed around the west coast areas and Jeju Island. Even more snow is expected from dawn tomorrow. By Thursday, heavy snow of up to 40 centimeters or more is expected in the mountainous areas of Jeju Island, and more than 30 centimeters is in Jeollabuk-do province. Tomorrow morning, Seoul will be as cold as today, dropping to minus 12 degrees Celsius, Gwangju and Busan at minus 6 degrees. Seoul will move up to minus 5 degrees and Chuncheon will move up to minus 4 degrees. Freezing cold weather will remain this whole week. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Right, those are the headlines at this hour. Coming up right after this break is our daily panel session. Do stay with us and thank you for now.